Hello, Audioholics. My name is Wogan, and this is my friend Weiler.
Hello.
So Tyler,
Well, I thought my name was Weiler.
are you hunting wabbits?
Wes.
Way look, it's Widward.
Wee woo.
So, Dream Theater exists, right?
Yeah. They do exist, to my knowledge. But though, honestly, that could be
That is up for
wrong.
interpretation,
Yeah. It's up for
You know,
debate.
it's
There's
up for
certain evidence that
it's up
says
for
they don't.
debate as to whether it exists, like COVID-19. Anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. Did we just get demonetized?
Again,
Oh, darn it.
nothing's going to get us more demonetized than the Shags episode.
Oh, that's true. I mean, it's a shame we don't have that. It's a shame we don't have that. I mean,
Yeah.
I was.
Somebody got murdered on the podcast.
Somebody got Look, that album was so bad that I literally had to take it out on somebody.
Killed
You know,
someone with a hammer.
I had to shag them to death.
Oh God.
Yeah, good times.
You're aware of what shagging means, right?
Yes, I've seen the Austin Powers movies.
Oh God. Now we've really been demonetized.
Yeah,
Shag
but
someone to death on stream. Might as well throw that on Pornhub, not YouTube.
yeah. It's a shame you guys can't see that. That was a hell of an episode, though.
Yeah, totally.
Speaking of a hell of an episode, welcome to Audioholics Unite, where we review both the old and the new. I don't know. I just made that up at the top of my head.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
Actually, yeah. We're doing Dream Theater. What is it? Awake?
Awake.
Yeah.
Awake by Dream Theater. And since we're listening to Dream Theater, I don't feel like I'm pretentious enough yet. So I have a philosophy book here to help me.
Oh, crap. Well, I have the philosophy of life.
Well, that's pretty much better.
Yeah. How do I... Well, I have a beard. I could just constantly stroke it. Like, tisk, tisk.
Don't you think it's funny? But I actually do that when I think. Like, I actually stroke my beard.
You pretentious ass fuck. With your philosophy book and your...
I don't even do it on purpose. I'm just like, yeah, well, that's true. Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do declare. You look like a Confederate general nice guy.
Confederate general nice guy. I mean, people still tell me I look like a Catholic priest, so.
Same thing, really.
I mean, once they can't get the girls, they might as well go into Catholicism, right?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I can treat you better than he can.
I have a question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you respect women?
-10.
Really? Really? Because
yeah.
I respect the hell out of women.
Only the hell? God, dude. Like, you are so pathetic.
I respect the heaven and the hell out of women.
Well, that's better. But I even respect the nirvana out of women.
I respect the purgatory out of women. I respect the Valhalla out of women.
The underworld.
The underworld. I respect the Poseidon out of women.
You think there are gods and women?
Well, yeah. I'm sorry, I did not mention any female gods. I respect the Aphrodite out of women.
Aphrodite is unisex.
Oh, sorry. I assumed Aphrodite's gender.
How dare you?
Yeah, but like I was basically like I was saying like, okay, you have like the nice guy beard now. You need to just constantly talk about how much you respect women on this podcast.
Hey, it's not a neck beard. It's not. A neck beard would be down here. So it's not a nice guy beard. Fuck you.
It's almost a neck beard. It just needs like that little bit and it'll be a neck beard.
Oh man, I do want to get it styled though.
Yeah.
My girlfriend has been making me grow it out, but once it's grown out for a bit and I can style it, it's gonna look a lot better.
Excuse me, are you assuming your partner's gender? That's
Oh,
that's
I'm sorry.
not kosher.
I'm sorry. I should have used the proper pronouns: Zir, Zan, and Zine.
Zine?
Zine.
Zine, 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 Zine.
What art Zine doing with Zine guitar? I'm gonna rewrite Shakespeare with the proper pronouns. Zir.
Yeah, there you go. With the gender neutral pronouns. There you go.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll also make Romeo gay.
No, you have to make Romeo a gay transvestite attack helicopter.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And Juliet, I mean, we can just make Juliet a man.
You know what? They have to have Z gender names as well. So it has to be
Zoe and Juliet.
yeah, there we go.
Oh god.
All right,
Well,
let's
we
get to
just
this.
pissed off all of the fucking social justice people.
It's okay. Nobody was watching this.
True.
Right. Should we
No, fuck you.
Okay, let's just piss off some more people then.
All right.
You
Do
know
want
who
to
I
get started?
hate? You know who I hate? The
Oh,
Amish.
yeah, fuck the Amish, dude. Like,
Yeah. They're always
anyway,
they're always the easy target. Like if you ever want to offend somebody but not piss anybody off, offend the Amish.
offend Jews.
Oh, well, no, don't do that. They run everything.
I mean, okay, so I've recently been studying ancient history in college, and holy fuck, have the Jews always gotten the short stick?
Yeah, well, I
They're
mean,
the
yeah,
butt
they
of
like.
every joke in history.
Well, no, they've always been persecuted. Like,
It's not even, they're just shat on constantly in every culture. Every single time the Jews are brought up in this class, it's because they're being killed and like,
it's amazing how a religion can basically believe in the same God and yet get persecuted throughout history.
yeah, right. I mean, I knew they were persecuted throughout history, but I didn't realize it was to this extent, where like
Yeah.
practically every single culture that has ever existed has shat on Jews. And it just
And
makes
now
it
you.
worse when you know modern history because Hitler.
And now you are.
Yeah,
Good work.
yeah,
Good work just like pissing on that and that long line of
Wow.
corpses.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even saying Jews are terrible. I'm just saying facts. Like throughout history, most cultures have thought Jews are terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this album.
All right. We all know that Dream Theater hates Jews, after all.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, but you have to count down from 6.
Oh, sorry. Before we do though, I will have the link to the album in the description. Again, I recommend you turn off ad block for the best listening experience possible. Anyway, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. We are on the first track, 6 minutes, which, by the way, is 5 minutes and 31 seconds long.
It's actually 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you're right. That always pissed me off. You might as well have the Make it 29 seconds longer. It's not that hard.
Exactly. Come on. It's Dream Theater. They could have figured out how to fill that time with pointless guitar shit.
Awesome drum solo in the beginning. You know, great riffs.
Yeah.
This is Dream Theater, man.
Okay, so real talk. My experience with Dream Theater is actually, I think, very different from the typical music snobs experience with Dream Theater. I've tried to get into Images and Words so many times, and I really can't.
Listen to that bass, people.
Yeah, very good. But I actually like a lot of their newer stuff more. And actually, I like this album more. This came out, what, 1994? Yeah, 1994. And Images and Words came out in 92.
In my case, it took me a long, long time to get into Dream Theater.
Yeah, my brother, like, obsesses over Images and Words, says it's like the best album of all time and things like that, really influential. And like, I think my problem is that out of all of the Dream Theater albums, it's the one that drones the most and doesn't really build up to much. Like the title track, Pull Me Under, is really good.
Metropolis Part 1.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad album. I just think it's a little bit overrated. And I don't think it's the way that people should get into Dream Theater.
No. I mean, it's not even largely representative of the rest of their discography. I mean, hell, it's not even representative of their next fucking album, this one.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it's a good album, but I wouldn't go as far as to say best of all time or anything like that.
By the way, I hope
Dream Theater album.
By the way, I hope you appreciate this podcast because I had to get up at the ass crack of 10 in the morning to do it.
Yeah. I'm already up at that point most of the time, most days, but yeah. Anyway, back to Dream Theater. So it took me a long time to get into Dream Theater because I was never into prog rock. I didn't like Rush. I didn't like King Crimson. I didn't even like Pink Floyd, really. Pink Floyd's kind of like Babby's first prog band, right?
Go on.
Never was really into prog, but this man here got me into Rush, right? And that sort of kind of introduced me to odd time signatures and more complex music. And then I decided to give Dream Theater another go, and I wasn't able to get into it. I tried like 4 or 5 times to get into Images and Words, maybe a little bit more than that if you're counting other albums. I just couldn't get into it. But then, like, one day I was listening to, what album is it? It's the one with As I Am on it. Train of Thoughts. I was listening to that album, and suddenly it just clicked. Like, out of nowhere, it just clicked.
Yeah, like I said, I think I can imagine a lot of people actually being turned off by Dream Theater, as I was, because of the pedestal that everybody puts Images and Words on. And again, I'm not saying it's a bad album. I just don't think it's their best album.
No, it's not.
And I don't think it's a good way to get into the band. It's not even like Paranoid by Black Sabbath, where like it's not their best album, but it's still a good way to get into the band. Images and Words just isn't a good way to get into the band.
It's not. It is a really good album. Like, I won't agree with Logan when he says that it drags. I don't think it drags. I don't think it's bloated. But it isn't their best album.
It's not even... There's a lot of musical diversity in that album.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of musical diversity in any Dream Theater album.
Yeah.
This one probably the most, in my opinion.
Like,
You'll
I'm
hear
already
that.
loving this, and I think we're still on the first track.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already loving. Oh, okay, never mind.
We're now
Saying
in
that
Caught in a Web.
we are on track 2, Caught in a Web. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why Images and Words doesn't click with me, because it's objectively a good album.
Yeah.
Like, if I sound like I'm negative towards Images and Words, I am, but that's only just my personal opinion. Objectively, it is still a very good album, and I highly recommend that established Dream Theater fans who listen to something like this first go back and listen to Images and Words.
Yeah. It definitely. Like, if you're a fan of later albums like Train of Thought, this album, newer albums, go back and listen to Images and Words. You might enjoy it. Definitely listen to it before Metropolis Part 2, Scenes of a Memory. But I wouldn't start with it.
This is a really different vocal. I've never actually heard this album before. This is a different vocal style than I'm used to. He's usually doing like really high like falsettos and things like that.
Oh, you'll hear that on the next song.
Here he's doing like this baritone, like this grovelly baritone, and I actually kind of like it more. Yeah, okay, now we're getting in, like, now that we're in like the chorus, like now it's getting into like
stuff.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying that's bad, but I actually kind of like the more baritone side of Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up on hair metal. I grew up on Judas Priest and Kicks and Quiet Riot and, you know, a whole bunch of bands that had like falsetto and Rush. And I just think that a lot of those bands were actually better when they didn't do the falsetto. Like, Judas Priest is better when he had like the crusty kind of baritone. Like that
Alfred's
kind
low
of
end
like
is really
that's
good.
like that sort of like that sort of like Pitbull howl, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't think Judas Priest really overuses the falsetto. It's only really in the choruses for the most part.
Yeah. Now Rush, I actually can't listen to a lot of really old Rush because of the not very good falsetto. I actually kind of like All the World's a Stage. I prefer to listen to music like 2112, Anthem, Fly By Night, basically everything off the first album. The first 4 albums are better on All the World's a Stage because of the reverb effect, which kind of makes the falsetto a little bit more bearable.
Yeah.
Oh my god, listen to this guitar. Hey,
Really fucking
Tyler,
good.
I will give you $20 if you do that guitar solo.
Bro, I can't even do the Paranoid solo yet.
Baby steps. Baby steps. Yeah, this album is an absolute masterpiece. No wonder Pitchfork didn't review it.
Yeah, we were going to look up a Pitchfork review, and Pitchfork didn't review any Dream Theater albums.
Which kind of surprises me, because, like, they're, you know, like, Dream Theater is famous or possibly even infamous for being a music snob's wet dream, basically.
Yeah. The interesting thing about this album is the first album that Dream Theater made, Images and Words. I don't want to say it was happy sounding, but it was much more bright and rich sounding than this album. This album is more dark and brooding and
Yeah.
heavy, which I really enjoy.
I'm trying to look how long this entire album is, and it doesn't actually say.
It's an hour and 15 minutes.
That's short for a Dream Theater album.
There actually aren't any absurdly long songs on this album. The longest song is 10 minutes long.
And I think it's this one. Wait, no, this is 5 minutes.
Yeah, the longest one on the album is called
9
Star.
minutes. Yeah, 9 minutes and 54 seconds.
10 minutes and 59 seconds.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Go down a little more.
Yeah. This is a really good song.
Yeah, I agree. Caught in a Web is one of the best on the... Are you on the next song?
Yes,
yet?
we are on Innocence Faded.
This song is actually a bit lighter than...
Yeah, I was going to say, this almost sounds like... This almost sounds kind of like... It should be like the opening to like Full House or something. Everywhere you look.
Okay, let's talk about Full House for a second. I have been so into that show lately.
Do I even know you anymore?
So, I hate sitcoms. Okay, I hate The Big Bang Theory. I don't even like Seinfeld. But for some reason, my girlfriend had me go back and watch Full House, and it is super fucking funny. Really funny, especially the earlier episodes. It's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious. Where, like, Bob Saget does something derpy and, the family drama of a family we don't really care about.
But see, like, that's something I'd argue is there's actually a lot of character development in this show, a lot of depth to every character, especially Jesse. Really well-written character. Especially going into the second season, there's so many episodes surrounding Jesse and how he matures as a person.
Full House is a show to make fun of. Plain and simple. It's too cutesy for its own good. That's why BoJack Horseman succeeded in the way that it did, is because it made fun of old sitcoms like that.
I really love the chorus on this song. It's a really nice melody.
But if we're talking about sitcoms, I don't really like sitcoms either. I think that even the ones... It's funny, even the sitcoms that are on TV... Here.
He gets really insane at this part of the song.
Come on, hit the high note. Come on.
He will.
I know, it's going to crescendo. It's going to crescendo. It's that kind of album. Come on, crescendo in 3, 2... Disappointing.
Yeah, the vocals on this track are really impressive. This
is before
James LaBrie blew his vocal cords, so he can still hit a lot of those high notes.
Look, that happens. You have a band that's over 20 years old. Like, the thing about Dream Theater that, like, arguably, like, rivals their actual music ability is just how well they are produced. Who's like twiddling the knobs on these Dream Theater albums?
From what I understand, it's some guy named Elvis.
Elvis.
I think.
Well, he's a hunka burning genius, I think.
A hunka burning genius. I like that.
But sitcoms, for the most part, I don't like sitcoms either, and even the sitcoms that are on TV now somehow already haven't aged well.
Well, that's because they all suck.
Like, Modern Family is just like, oh, Modern Family, like, I don't watch the show, but based off of, like, my knowledge of the show, it's just like, oh, this is the show that's like won all of the Academy Awards and all of the, the Emmys and things like that. And yet, like, they kind of like make, like, at least from an SJW perspective, they kind of make like all the ethnic characters really stupid.
All right, just to interrupt for a second, John Purdell and Duane Barron produced, engineered, and mixed the album, not Elvis. I must be thinking about some other album.
Dream Theater album, maybe.
Maybe a different Dream Theater album, maybe a different album, period, because lately I have been doing the top 100 metal albums list again. Yeah. So.
Okay, I have to should I tell this story? Okay.
What story?
So, Tyler randomly texts me, says, there's this band called Naked City.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't explain it. You just have to listen to it for yourself. I'm going on eBay right now and buying a cassette tape. So he deadass buys this cassette tape on eBay. And, he's had it for about a month because, quarantine, it's been a little bit hard for us to see each other. And he gives so eventually he gives me the album. I put it on my stereo.
Are we on the new song now?
Yes, sorry. We are on
Erotomania.
I would not have been able to pronounce that.
That's why I did it.
Okay.
This is the only instrumental on the album, and it is probably the best Dream Theater instrumental I've ever heard.
I can already agree.
I love this groove.
Oh my god, you know what this riff kind of reminds me of?
What?
I think it's Raining Blood. Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah.
Slayer! What you were saying about Naked City.
Yeah. Slayer! So I put it in my cassette deck, and immediately it's like this weird rock jazz avant-garde thing. The entire album is about 20 minutes long, and it's 42 tracks. So 20 minutes, and 20 minutes, by the way, that counts both sides. So 10 minutes on each side of the cassette. And it's 42 tracks. So, like, the longest track is, like, I think 1 minute and 13 seconds, something like that. Most of the tracks are under 30 seconds. And they all have, like, weird names. The one that, like, stood out was Igneous Ejaculation, something about, like, shitting on a jazz critic or something. Jazz critics don't know shit or something like that. It's like this atonal, avant-garde, metal, jazz, there's no better way for it, just meltdown.
Yeah, it's fucking weird.
It's like, it literally sounds like somebody is going on a psychotic breakdown.
One thing I said to someone else is that I wouldn't be surprised if this album has made people commit suicide via saxophone.
Well, it's definitely made me want to have phone sax.
Via saxophone?
Yes. I stole that from Family Guy. That's not my original joke. I'm kidding. It is my original joke. Do not steal. Yeah, but anyway. It's honestly, with all of that, I still recommend the album just as an experience. I actually recommend, and it's only 20 minutes long.
Exactly.
It's just, I think it is an experience that needs to be had. And I actually cannot recommend that album enough. I can't actually give it, like if we were to, review it on the podcast, which we might at some point. I could not actually give it a rating because I think it just kind of defies that. But it's just a fascinating album, honestly. Anyway, back to Dream Theater.
This is a great instrumental.
Yeah.
There's some awesome solos, great riffs, awesome rhythms, the drumming, the bass work. I mean, it's fucking Dream Theater. What do you expect?
I mean, obviously, I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. It's Dream Theater. Like, giving it anything lower than that would just be sacrilege to the music snob community.
No, this album does have a flaw or two, in my opinion. You'll hear
Actually,
them a little later,
wait. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give it, brace yourself, a 9.9.
I fucking love that riff. So
I have to give it a 9.9. Sorry, music fans.
9.99. I just had to take out 0.01 for that lack of production in the 1 second of the last song.
Oh. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I'm giving this... I'm giving this... Unless it, literally shits the bed, which is Dream Theater. It's not likely to do.
So here's my question, though. Is this an album you're likely to return to? Because I don't think you've said that about any Dream Theater album.
Yes, I think this is the first Dream Theater album that I might return to. And to be fair, I have returned to Images and Words. I've really tried to like that album, and it's... I don't know why. It just doesn't click with me.
For me, the Dream Theater album that never clicked with me is Metropolis Part 2, The Scenes of a Memory. Which is the one everybody comes over. They're like, oh, it's the best concept album of all time. It's the best story ever told in music. Blah, blah, blah.
Is there a Metropolis Part 1? Because that's probably what you need to listen to first to really understand it.
Metropolis Part 1 was one of the songs on Images and Words that was
really good, okay. And they just made a fucking... entire album around the sequel? Damn.
Yeah, but it doesn't really have anything to do with the first song.
Oh, okay. Fuck it, it's Dream Theater. They can do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a really intense story, okay, fine. But there are a lot of plot holes and, bad writing elements to that album that I don't really enjoy. Because if you didn't know, basically it's about a guy who's being hypnotized, and after he's hypnotized, he goes back and finds out that he had a previous life where he was a woman who was murdered by a serial killer. That's the plot of the album.
That sounds actually kind of stupid.
It is, in my opinion, really stupid. And you want to know what the twist is at the end of the album? Yes, there's a Shyamalan-esque twist. The twist is that the hypnotist was the reincarnation of the serial killer the whole time. And the album ends with the hypnotist killing the main character.
I'm sorry, I've never listened to this album, and I never will, because that is the dumbest plot I've ever heard.
I know, it's fucking stupid. And there are so many plot holes and just bad elements to it. I don't even really like the music much. There's a few songs that are alright. Dance of Eternity is really good, but other than that, I really just don't dig it. And there are people who say that's their favorite Dream Theater album. It's the best one. I don't see it.
We are on Voices now.
Oh yeah, this is one of the softer tracks on the album. I think Silent Man is probably the softest, but...
I honestly just don't know what to say. If you can't figure out that this is a good album just by listening to it, then I respectfully disagree.
I mean, what it comes down to is, if you like technicality, Dream Theater is always going to be up your alley anyways. It's got really good odd time signatures, technical riffs, good rhythms, really interesting rhythms. Pretty good vocals. Some people don't like the vocals, but I do.
I'll be honest. I don't think I ever really got Dream Theater until right now. You can mark it. Let me look at my phone. May 12th, 11:26 Eastern Time is when I finally got Dream Theater.
Finally. It finally
Uh,
clicked with you.
of course, this is going to be posted weeks in advance, but when we are recording it, it is May 12th, 2020. I think I finally get this band. Like, let me rephrase that. I always understood why they were put on the pedestal that they were. Even with images and words, I understand why people like the album. But I never really got Dream Theater. I never really personally became a Dream Theater fan. I think this album has converted me into a Dream Theater fan. Now
Why is
watch me
that?
for. I think just. I think this is just. Honestly, if there were an objectively perfect album, it would probably come pretty close to this. At least so far. I think that, like, he doesn't overuse the falsetto. It has really good lyrics. The guitar is, well, John Petrucci. It's guitar. Um, you know, I think this is where all of the positive elements of Dream Theater mesh together the best.
The keyboardist is also really good on this album, too, I will admit.
And also, I think this is maybe the most accessible Dream Theater album I've heard thus far.
Yeah, probably. Other
Like,
than
I'm
their
not.
new one. Because their new one is, I mean, it's still progressive, but it is way more in the direction of heavy metal than prog metal.
I'll have to listen to that, but out of all of the albums, I'd say this is obviously super progressive, but I think this is almost more. This is, I think, a little bit closer to their Rush roots than any Dream Theater album I've heard before. I'm trying to, like,
Just listen to it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Podcast is over. We're just gonna finish this album on our own.
I don't really know what else to really say about the album
Yeah.
itself that I haven't already said. I think maybe it's a little
We still
too
have like
soft in
halfway of an
parts.
album to go. This probably was not a great idea.
Yeah, seriously.
Whose fault is that?
One thing I will say is that I've never really enjoyed the softer side of Dream Theater, and they do have a bit of it on this album that I don't really like. Specifically, the next song I think is not really great, but
This song I think is okay. I mean, like, it's like, I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe it's like
it's got a lot of movements, is what I would say. It changes direction a lot.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but I guess I do kind of prefer the heavier, not even necessarily heavier side of Dream Theater, just the more instrumental side of Dream Theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like, this is a guy, I don't remember who the singer is for Dream Theater.
James LaBrie.
Right. James LaBrie is the kind of guy that legitimately could say that his voice is his instrument.
Yeah.
There are a couple. I think that, like, there are a couple people who can kind of say that. You know what I mean? Yeah, vocals is an instrument, of course, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
I know what you're saying, yeah. I don't know if the audience does.
I'm not even sure I know what I'm saying at this point.
I'd say, like, James LaBrie doesn't have an amazing voice, okay? And I think that much is proven on later
Blasphemy.
albums. I mean, even Dream Theater fans kind of agree that James LaBrie isn't a great singer, but I would say on this album, he is a great singer. And I think songs like this really showcase just how talented this guy is before he. Because I think it's actually this album during tour when he destroys his vocal cords. And you can hear it on every album following it because he never does those falsettos anymore. He never really does the operatic stuff because he can't.
You know, I'm thinking about it, and like I've always said, and like I said earlier, that I kind of prefer the lower end. If he like blew his voice out, then I imagine there's a lot of Dream Theater's later discography that just is mostly lower end, and I feel like I would like that more.
Pretty much all of the rest of their catalog is like that.
Besides like these two albums,
Yeah.
well, this and Images and Words.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's never tried to do the falsetto stuff again in songs, but like for the most part, I mean, his
It's
voice
just
is
failed.
gone, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the things that happened with Led Zeppelin is like, I think even on the fourth album, he kind of um like even on the fourth album, I think is about when he started to blow his voice out because he did falsettos all throughout that album and Houses of the Holy, but they sounded different.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not like a huge music nerd. I listen to Led Zeppelin and Nickelback and all those other great bands. No, I'm kidding.
Nickelback.
Back Nickel.
You know, I don't remember if I talked about this on the podcast before or not, but like recently there was a Nickelback challenge for guitar because of the quarantine. And like it's kind of taught us all that Nickelback has really good riffs. We never
Really?
realized that before. Yeah. Nickelback
Yeah,
has
you have
actually
not
some
talked about
really
that.
decent riffs. Yeah. I mean, okay. So this reminds me of another band, Creed.
Yeah,
Everyone
I would say
shits
they are
on
very
Creed.
comparable.
Everyone shits on Creed. But Creed has always had great instrumentals. And even if you don't believe that, look at Alter Bridge. Because I've talked about this before, maybe not in the podcast, but if you didn't know, Alter Bridge is every single member of Creed except Scott Stapp. It's a different vocalist, Miles Kennedy. But every other member is the same.
Wow, that you know what? I have to say what is it, 6 Feet from the Edge?
Yeah. I think it's
That's
that.
my jam. That's my jam.
There are a few Creed tracks that I actually The Creed tracks.
Queef tracks.
There are a few Creed tracks that I do enjoy. I like What If. A lot of people think that song is stupid. I do like that song. By the way, this is the song I was talking about that I don't like, The Silent Man.
Yeah, we are on the silent. Whoa, we've been on the Silent Man for 3 fucking minutes now. Good work,
3
Tyler.
minutes.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. That's 1 minute something. I can't see.
I was only like a minute in. I don't know. This song is pleasant, but it's not really what I want to hear.
This is like the only song that's like actual single length.
All the other songs are over 5 minutes, so. Oh, the next song is a standout, though, The Mirror.
You know what that kind of reminds me of? There was like back before the Tonight Show, Stephen Colbert's like I can't even remember what it was called. I think it was just called the Colbert Report. What am I thinking? Has it really
I
been
don't
that long
remember what
ago?
it's called. It's like the Yogi Bear report, maybe.
Yeah. No. Anyway, but they had I can't remember if it was the entirety of Rush or if it was just Geddy Lee. I think it was the entirety of Rush. And and one of the most memorable things he said in that interview was, he asked in that interview was, have you ever written a song so long that you just inspired yourself? That describes Dream Theater in a nutshell.
They're like going back to Change of Seasons, which for those of you who don't know is my favorite Dream Theater song. And they're like, holy shit, the fourth movement was so good. Let's do an album of it. I mean, that's literally what happened with Metropolis. They're like, oh god, that was a really good song. Let's make a whole album out of it.
I You know what's weird? This is probably my least favorite track on the album, and yet I think it's the one that I'm most likely to listen to again.
Really?
Yeah.
That is really weird.
I don't know. I kind of like it. It's sort of, like I said, it's accessible. I think this is like the one song off of this album that you could listen to without just committing yourself to the entire album.
I mean, Caught in a Web is really good for that too.
I guess that's true. Okay, so is this the Mirror? Yes,
Yeah,
this is
we
the
are now on
Mirror.
the Mirror. This is probably my favorite song on the album.
Holy shit, it's Pantera!
I know, the Pantera shit in this track is amazing. I'm actually surprised he made that comparison because he's not really a Pantera fan. He's only ever really heard one album, though. 2 albums.
I've heard like 2 albums, and I love those albums. I would say this: I am a Pantera fan. I'm not a Pantera super fan. I like those 2 albums, Cowboys from Hell and Vulgar Display of Power, I think it's called. Yeah. The other albums I don't really like, and to be fair, I think that like every album after Vulgar Display of Power, from my understanding, has like less and less love from the fans. But I could be totally wrong about that. I think like those are the 2 fan favorites, and I've never listened to anything Glamterra, but I've heard it's terrible.
I mean, in my opinion, the best album they ever made was The Great Southern Trendkill, which is a later album.
Oh, okay.
I don't like their newest album, which is Reinventing the Fire. A lot of people really love that album. I don't, because it just feels like it's missing something to me. But
we will have to listen to Pantera at some point.
Yeah, but my opinion is if you like Vulgar of Display of Power, you should check out the other ones, because you'll probably like most of them.
Okay.
I mean, knowing you might actually like Reinventing the Fire the most.
What was the ones, like, This Love, Rise?
Those are both off of Vulgar, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Those are really good songs.
So good that Doom ripped them off.
Yeah, I mean...
well,
Doom ripped off everything.
Rise. Yeah, it's true.
I mean, they ripped off Alice in Chains, Master of Puppets.
I love how heavy this song is.
It's weird that I didn't actually, like, see that comparison when, like, people first made it of, like, oh, the first Doom song and Master of Puppets. And now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, I can't unhear that now.
To me, it kind of sounds more similar to No Remorse's chorus from Kill 'Em All than Master of Puppets. But there's always that debate.
I need to listen to that song again, but I think Master of Puppets, it sounds almost exact. It's just, instead of it's like literally just one note different.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing with No Remorse. It's like almost the exact same riff.
I think I like this album for the same reason that I like Typo Negative, and it's sort of the lyricism mixed with just the really insane instrumental side of it. For those who don't know, Typo
is great.
Yeah, we will listen to Typo Negative because they are one of my favorite bands, and hopefully by the time that we listen to Typo Negative, I will have a Typo Negative tattoo.
We should listen to October Rust.
What was that's a Oh yeah.
It's the one that's not Bloody Kisses.
Yeah, exactly. I've listened to Bloody Kisses so much. I should point that out. Typo Negative might not be my favorite band, but Bloody Kisses is my favorite album of all time.
Really?
I think. One of them, I'd say, at least. Bloody Kisses, alongside maybe Death Penalty by Witchfinder General. There's some Black Sabbath that probably make that list. Like maybe either Volume 4 or Mob Rules. Abbey Road is probably on that list somewhere.
Which, by the way, just to interrupt real quickly, for those of you, like one of you who saw the Black Sabbath ranking we did, Volume 4 has gone so far up my list, it's now in the top 3. It has beat out Mob Rules for me now.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, it's close to beating out Master of Reality, and you should know how hard that is for me to say.
Master of Reality, you said?
Yeah, it's almost beating that out for me. The only thing holding it back from doing that is Laguna Sunrise. I don't like that song.
I still say it's the best Black Sabbath instrumental. I think it's the most technically impressive, even beyond Super Czar.
No, I think Super Czar's better. But
I think that Super Czar is better, but I think that Laguna Sunrise is technically better.
I don't know. I just think it's boring.
I think Fluff is boring, so there you go.
I don't even know what I would say my favorite. Like, that's such a hard thing for me to consider.
I mean,
we're on the
there's
end of the mirror now.
Yeah.
So we're close to finishing the song.
Yeah. I obviously haven't ranked Hair of the Dog by Nazareth has been one of my favorite albums for a very long time. We are on Lie now. Just even the guitar tone sounds kind of Pantera-y.
Yeah. I love Lie.
It kind of sounds like Douchebag Daryl or whatever his name is.
Douchebag Daryl.
D-Bag Daryl. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Daryl D-Bag. There, I got it right. I don't know. I know
Daryl is amazing.
The guitarist is replaceable. You could reunite Pantera.
I mean, yeah, but you'd have to reunite it with someone like Zakk Wylde.
Yeah,
you need a virtuoso to replace a virtuoso.
It's not like Motorhead where Lemmy dies and that's the end of the band. Well, everybody I think involved in Motorhead has died at this point, but
But yeah,
Like,
I mean, I don't know what I would say my favorite albums are. Probably Stranger Head Prevails by Thank You Scientist is up there. Nightfall by Candlemass. You know, Black Sabbath album, something. Probably Sabbath Play Sabbath. Ride the Lightning by Metallica. I don't know. Oh yeah, but as far as Pantera is concerned, Great Southern Trendkill, Affinity by Haken. Well, there's 6 that I would put in my
yeah.
top 10. I don't know what I would say reigns though. Like that's such a
There has
hard
to be,
thing.
also there has to be like a Judas Priest album in my list somewhere.
I don't think I would put one in mine. I do love Judas Priest, but I love so many other bands more.
Maybe, I think Stained Class has to be up there somewhere.
That is a good album.
Do you like that album now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I still don't love it. It's not my favorite Judas Priest album, but it is good. Yeah.
That is one of those albums that is immediately clicked with me when I was in college. Because I dropped out of college because I felt like such a fish out of water. I felt like I was the idiot. I felt like I was the clown. I felt like I was the class clown in a room full of nerds.
I mean, even
And
I feel like I'm
that is
the
honestly
dumbest
one of the
person in the
major
room.
reasons I dropped out of college. That, and I don't think it really had any benefit towards me. I don't think it really added any benefit, compared to what I was actually paying.
Yeah.
Um, but I think a lot of music like Judas Priest and uh, like Stained Class by Judas Priest, a bunch of things just really spoke to me around that time. I just felt awful and I wanted to get out of that situation.
Yeah, I've had times where I was like that too, but a lot of the albums that spoke to me during those times aren't really ones that stuck with me, you know?
Yeah.
One that did would be Holy Hell by Architects. That got
Yeah.
me through the death of my grandmother, who I've known my entire adult life, and,
Yeah.
well, I mean, my entire life, period. She was literally there when I was born.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah. And she lived with me my entire. So we were really close. It was really hard for me to get over that.
I would
And that
hope
album
that
is
your
really sad.
grandmother would be alive while you were born.
No, I
And
said there
like,
when I was born.
oh, okay. I was gonna say because that would be funny. It's just like after you were born, she just magicked into existence, and she was 60 years old.
You know, seeing dad get old, there's things that I never considered. Like, have you ever thought about when old people get dentures? I always just thought there was an age, like you were 71 and now you have dentures.
Well, I mean, like I assume it's depending on how well you take care of your dental hygiene. So for me,
Yeah.
it'll probably be about age 30,
Huh.
and for
No, but
you, it'll
my dad
probably be
has it like 40.
yeah, and for you, it'll probably be like 25. Anyway, um,
Actually, I've always had miraculously amazing teeth.
you know what? Kind of same. Like I don't brush my teeth very often. I
Yeah,
know that's disgusting, but fuck you. I'm lazy.
pretty much.
But like I don't think I've ever had like a cavity as far as I'm aware.
I
Or if I
had a few when
have,
I was younger, but like
yeah,
since then,
I think I've had like some smaller cavities, but nothing that ever like hurt or anything like that. I've never had to get any teeth pulled. I've never had to, like, I had a chip on my tooth. That doesn't really speak to the health of my teeth. It just speaks to the stupid shit I did as a kid.
you know, there's a cheat code I learned recently. After dinner, take a napkin and like rub your teeth on the napkin, and you've basically just brushed your teeth.
A cheat code?
Yeah, because like I've read people have done that and like never brushed their teeth and never had any problems ever.
Okay,
Just all of the
like
private
I
off
would
of
not
immediately.
I would not actually trust that. But first of all, don't
I
call it a
trust it.
cheat code, you idiot.
It's a cheat code to life.
But what does the fucking napkin have up up down down left right BA start on it? Like what the fuck?
Maybe, you never know. I didn't want to call it a life hack.
Okay,
That
but
term
don't
has
call
just
it.
been so fucked.
Okay, but don't call it a cheat code. That's worse.
No, cheat code is better. Fuck you.
No, it's not. All right, we are on lifting shadows off a dream.
There's only 3 songs left.
So we're about halfway through the album then.
There is still about 20 minutes left on it, so.
Yeah. So far, this I don't really know what. I assume this seems like a song that'll maybe like kind of ramp up a bit, but I don't even know.
It's pleasant.
I have Images and Words on cassette. I'm probably gonna go back and listen to it again because now that I think I kind of get Dream Theater, I'm gonna go back and see if I can get Images and Words now.
Yeah.
You know what? You know, like the movie equivalent of Dream Theater for me is E.T. It's
Really?
a movie that I never liked as a kid and only marginally get now as an adult.
I mean, you just hate Spielberg in general.
You know what, though? I think E.T. might actually be the movie by Spielberg that I hate the least. And
Really?
actually kind of like now.
For me, it'd be Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That'd be my favorite Spielberg movie.
I have that on VHS and I never saw it.
It's really good, actually.
It doesn't seem like something I would like because I'm not usually into sci-fi. But my dad keeps talking about how it's like one of his favorite movies, so I guess I'll need to check it out. I was so close. I watched Pet Sematary last night on Blu-ray, and I was choosing between that and Kazam. I was thinking, like, which one's scarier?
Shazam.
Did I say Shazam?
No,
Did I say
but...
Ah. I meant Kazam, the Shaq movie. But that's, like, the thing from, like, Scary Movie. Like, what movie are you watching? Kazam? That's not his horror movie. Have you seen him act? Seriously, though, Scary Movie has not aged well.
No, it hasn't. I mean, it's a lot of toilet humor.
I did hear that George Carlin was in the third one, so I'll need to watch that.
Hi, babe.
Hi.
Oh, God, she's back.
Hi.
Yes, host Christina, everybody.
Say hello.
Hi.
Hi.
He says hi.
I can hear him.
No, you can't. Shut up.
So, Tyler, should we announce anything about, like, future plans for the show, or
Yeah,
not yet? We can?
Yeah, we can.
Do you think it's, like, close enough to being official that we can just do that?
Yeah.
Okay, so starting maybe next week, depending on how I organize the episodes, Christina will be a semi-regular host on Audioholics Unite.
Yeah. So, we're going to listen to Blue Oyster Cult, Tyranny, and Mutation, which is, yet again, I feel like I'm getting the short end of the stick on a lot of these albums because I've heard, like, all of them, but... Tyranny and Mutation is an album I've heard hundreds of times, and I'm really excited to show it to Logan here, who's never heard it.
Yeah. So Christina, I think Christina will be very good for the show. I think that she's not necessarily an audiophile, an audioholic like the two of us, And as a result, that kind of adds a layman's perspective to a lot of the things that we do, because we judge these albums as people who listen to a lot of music. And it's
Yeah.
nice to have a different perspective. Plus, Christina has her own personality. I think that
She's flamboyant.
I think
bring the
that
sex appeal. Thank you very much.
yeah, she's the
sex
gender
appeal.
quota. She's the gender quota.
I bring the sex appeal to the show.
Yeah. Well, you bring something anyway. But in all seriousness, she has a personality. She has a unique perspective on music. She has her own unique interests, which I think will add to the show. I'm very excited to have Christina on for the show. I think that'll be very, very good. And I think that you will like Christina as well. All
Yeah.
two people who are watching.
Yeah, it's going to
Why
be
can't
interesting.
Why can you say nice things like Logan?
I say nice things about you all the time.
Not like that, what he just said.
I'm getting chewed out by my girlfriend now.
Hey, you better be careful. She might go to the other side.
The other side. The other side.
Just because I am Mormon doesn't mean I am polygamous. No, I'm kidding. All right, we are on. What is
Logan,
it?
I almost went to the other side before dating Tyler.
All right, we are on Scared now. Is it Scared or Scarred?
Scarred. It's the longest song on the album. 10 minutes and 59 seconds.
Scarred, right.
All right, I'm gonna go take a shower.
Oh my God, we are on camera. Get a room.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting how we're going to do that, because obviously if we sit in the same room, when I talk, her camera is going to pick up my voice and my camera is going to pick up my voice. So I'm going to hear myself twice and you're going to hear me twice.
So are you just going to be on the same camera, or
I don't know how we're going to do it yet.
Or maybe, I mean, your house is big enough to where if you theoretically wanted to just do it in a separate room, you could.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning, but she really didn't want to do it in a separate room. So I suppose we'll just have to see. We might just be both on camera like this for my laptop.
Yeah, so, we'll work all of those details out in the future.
Yeah.
You and Christina can work out all your kinks, and
we work them out every night, bruh.
Hey.
But
like I said, I'm very excited to have Christina on the show. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to hype her up, because honestly, I'm not trying to hype her up too much, because honestly, she's never done this before. Maybe it won't work out.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm anticipating good things. I think that having a layman's perspective on the show could be very good.
Yeah, especially with albums like Tyranny and Mutation. I don't know if I would really put her in front of an album like this one. She's almost definitely going to not get it, you know?
Yeah.
Because she's not a snob like us. She won't really understand or enjoy music like this.
I will say, though, it would be interesting to, put her in front of, some of these avant-garde albums, like Naked City.
Make her listen to Sun-O.
Yeah. Just to kind of, we have that WTF perspective, and so would she, but, to an even grander scale.
Yeah. I mean, I listen to enough music that when something like Sun-O comes along, I'm really intrigued by it.
Oh my God, she's creeping behind you. She's like the Grudge,
She's like the Grudge. No, but someone like her who doesn't listen to a whole lot of music other than the hits and things like that, I think it would be interesting to put her in front of something like Sano.
Yeah.
I mean, she's either going to be incredibly bored by it, or
It was a 10-minute song, pretty much.
more like a 30-minute song, Dave.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely fall asleep by the half-minute mark.
What did she say? I couldn't
I
hear
said
her.
I'm definitely going to fall asleep by the half-minute mark.
Yeah.
I might fall asleep too.
Well, the entire album is an hour and 15 minutes, so
Wait, what'd you say?
the entire album is an hour and 15 minutes, so
This album?
yeah.
Oh, we were talking about Sano.
Oh,
I think she could probably make it through a Dream Theater record. I just don't think she would have many interesting things to say about it. And I
no,
know
we could
she
just
wouldn't like it.
we could just like rant about wrestling.
Like I sometimes do songs you listen to, babe.
So, Christina, what are your thoughts on the Iron Sheik?
On the what?
The Iron Sheik.
What is that?
The Iron Sheath.
The Iron Sheik.
The Iron Sheath.
I don't know what that fucking means.
I thought you were a wrestling fan.
I am. I never heard of a. No.
The Iron Sheet.
No.
What are you talking about?
The Iron Sheik.
Is there a
No.
wrestler called the Iron Sheik?
Yeah.
And which one? Because I've watched a few wrestling shows, not just WWE.
I don't know. Maybe I just made him up out of thin air, but I'm pretty sure there's a wrestler called the Iron Sheik.
No, not in WWE. I don't think so.
I can look it up.
Yeah. Please do, because I there's a fucking Mandela effect if I'm not. Fucking, it is Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
I have really good knowledge about a certain wrestler that-
I was like,
Oh, yeah? Who's that? Marco Polo?
No.
Oh,
Oh wow, he actually. Oh, I don't remember him. Oh, he was in WWF, but that was like in the 80s. I wasn't born until like 10 years.
oh, yeah.
later.
Well, I figured, like, if you were into WWE, you had to, like, figure out all the back lore and shit like that.
Well, I mean, I was a wrestling fan since I was like 5 or 6.
Okay, but there's, like, 50 years of lore you have to figure out.
Well, there actually was a wrestler who was born and raised in Anvil.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that my dad went to school with too.
Are you serious? Wait, like, in the WWE? We'll have to talk about this later, but that's really interesting.
Yeah. I'll definitely give you the heads up on that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you guys talk about this when we do, like, Alter Bridge or Volbeat or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way,
On the Alter Bridge album.
now that she is joined, I would like to also make another announcement. We are officially changing the name of this podcast from Audioholics Unite to Wrestling Unite. WWEers Unite.
Ew. Disgusting.
Except you might fall asleep when I talk about wrestling, honey, while Logan is gonna be the one fascinated.
Yeah, exactly. I fall asleep during half the shit you tell me, babe.
I don't
Yeah.
know as much. Because you're not as nearly as interesting as Logan is.
We are going to really diversify our audience with the gender quota that is Christina. We aren't going to let her talk.
Yeah, she can't talk.
Yeah, she can't talk.
We'll
because
just put, like, a gag in her and just make sure she sits there and looks pretty.
we're going to give her one of those coronavirus masks and just like... Or, no, like, do you have, like, a muzzle for your dog? We could
Yeah,
just...
we do have a muzzle for the dog.
Yeah, we could put that on her.
You're getting me abused, bro.
I can't hit Logan, so I have to hit you.
Do you hear that?
Like
she
a-
can't hit you, so she hits me.
You know, I just want to say for the record, I just want to say that for the record that Hawk Hagen is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Who?
Hawk Hagen.
You mean Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, Hawk Hagen.
Hawk Hagen, yeah, of course. Now,
Yeah.
personally, I like I like the Pebble. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that, well, not to take anything away from Andrea the Lizard, but
Andrea the Lizard.
Oh my god, you guys are gonna be the death of me on this podcast.
McWoman up there.
Yeah.
Vince McWoman.
Vince McWoman.
I would not correct you all, 'cause I hate Vince.
There's the Gravedigger, of course.
The Gravedigger, of course. Yes.
Again, you guys are gonna be fucking making me not want to talk, but you corrected me.
The Overtaker.
The Overtaker. I'm sorry, not the Gravedigger. The Overtaker.
The Overgiver.
He's a
The Overgiver.
Dude, shut up. He's a legend, okay? He deserves to have respect.
You're right. The Overgiver is the best wrestler of all time.
Yeah. You gotta get yourself.
And then there's George Sanai. That's another one. George Sanai.
No idea.
With his popular catchphrase, "You can always see me."
John Cena. You mean John Cena, you can't see me?
Yeah, no, George Sanai.
George Sanai. Yeah.
George Sanai.
You both.
All right, that joke's getting old.
Yeah. Okay.
Also,
the
because I've run
podcast-
out of wrestlers that I actually remember the name of off the top of my head.
Is almost over. We only have about 7 minutes left.
Damn.
Okay.
So this song, Scarred, is nearly over. We
Yeah.
did kind of like bitch through it, but it is a really good song and probably one of the
Yeah.
best off the album.
Yeah.
And I love the outro to it too.
Yeah, it is a really good outro. I'm definitely going to listen to this album again on my own.
Yeah.
So that I can fully absorb it.
Oh, by the way, do you like that guy who's just creeping over the fucking couch? Do you see it? The viewers see it. It's actually me. I have a cardboard cutout of my own face.
Wait. What?
Yes, I have a
No,
cardboard
you don't.
cutout of my own face.
Wait. No. No. What the fuck kind of narcissist shit is that? That is creepy.
It's from high school. I just never got rid of it. By the way, listen to this fucking piano.
We are on Space.
Divest.
Okay. Is that like
This
a
is my
pun or
favorite
something?
song on the album.
Nah.
I love this. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of like a Beethoven work.
Yeah. Except this is quite clearly a keyboard and not a piano.
Yeah, whatever.
You can tell by the fact that it sounds super fake and electric.
And by the way, if you're expecting this song to ramp up like Stairway to Heaven, you're going to be disappointed.
I kind of was, but all right.
I'm just
Thanks for
warning
the
you
heads
about
up.
that. This song is kind of just like a dark and brooding piano piece with some really, really dark and brooding vocals. I mean, frankly, it's such a weird outro.
So is
but I
this your
love it.
favorite Dream Theater soft song?
Yes.
Okay.
It actually might be one of my favorite Dream Theater songs, period.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I just love that melody.
I really like this too. Again, I'm definitely going to listen to this album again. Maybe even later tonight.
See, I avoided this album for a long time as someone who was into the later Dream Theater albums. I'd always heard this one was more complex. Like, it was more straight
It
in the
is.
prog direction.
I mean, it
it
is.
It is, yeah. I mean, they weren't wrong, but I thought they were talking more along the lines of, like,
Abstract shit.
Metropolis Part 2 Scenes of a Memory. I mean, frankly. I really hated that album, so I avoided this one because I basically thought it would be proto that. And I was blown away when I listened to it a few months back, I think. Especially this song. This song came out of left field. I was not expecting this at all.
Is it weird that I'm thinking of Schism by Tool?
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was a big influence on that song.
Yeah, it came out around the same time.
No, Schism was like 2000s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Tool's first album was 99. Undertow was 99, I think, yeah.
No, it came out like in the mid-90s.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking it up. Fact check.
Like 1994 or 5, something like that. Oh my god, I thought Christina was talking and it's just the album.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of sampling in this album. You can hear it sprinkled in other tracks, but it's really a thing here. And I kind of like it, honestly.
This is so eerie.
Undertow came out in 1993. Enema came out in 1996. Lateralis was 2001.
Was Lateralis the one with... Okay. I'm pretty sure I talked about this before, but I never got Tool until their most recent album. And actually, I still prefer Perfect Circle, or what was the other band? I prefer both of those albums over Tool.
Yeah, I mean, I personally love Enema. That's my favorite Tool album. Lateralis is definitely second place. And then maybe Undertow, then 10,000 Days, and finally the newer one, Fear Inoculum.
Well, since 10,000 Days is your second least favorite, that's probably the second one I should listen to.
Yeah,
because I like the more experimental side of Tool, where they kind of take themselves more seriously. Because it's just like Tool in like the first few albums were, I'm not going to say a joke band, but they had a sense of humor that wasn't actually funny.
I think it was pretty funny.
I don't think so. But, I mean, obviously it worked. I'm not taking that I'm not asking them to, like, you know, change anything. Obviously what they're doing works, but... And I'm in the minority, but I just think that Tool was at their best when they took themselves seriously, and that's why I prefer Perfect Circle. Because, I mean, like, they had that one album that was, like, all about substance abuse, and it was, like, one of the best allegories for that. Well, not allegories, but...
concept albums.
It's one of the best concept albums dealing with that. And there's a lot of concept albums that deal with substance abuse because, hey, guess what? A lot of people abuse substance.
You know, I have to agree with you, though. I actually do also prefer A Perfect Circle over Tool, personally.
And also, I just think that later Tool and Perfect Circle were just a lot better instrumentally, a lot more complex. I don't really like old Tool, but I kind of tolerate new Tool, and I tolerate Perfect Circle. I'm not really a fan of either of them, but I like them more than classic Tool. Like, I'll listen to...
You should definitely go back and listen to Lateralis again.
Like, I like songs like Sober. I like the hits, but that's about it. And,
because Lateralis, I would say, is like the first album where they started taking themselves seriously. There aren't really any joke songs in that album.
Well, 10,000 Days, I heard, is like the album to listen to if you like Fear Inoculum.
Yeah, it is. But and you did listen to Lateralis. I know you did, but
And I think I thought, like, objectively it was a good album, but I didn't really care for it.
Yeah,
So is this
that was
over
the
now?
end.
There we go.
And my biggest problem with every Dream Theater album is that it sometimes just feels a bit bloated, and I would say even this album kind of suffers from
I
that.
think this is the least bloated Dream Theater album, though. That and maybe
Yeah.
Images and Words. Images and Words, for all the things that I have against it, I would not necessarily say it's bloated, because I think it's actually one of the shorter Dream Theater albums.
It
But
is. I think it's only like 48 minutes.
yeah, like that's pretty standard album length. Honestly, I can't really tell you why it doesn't click with me. I'm going to need to listen to that album again, because isn't that the worst, when something just doesn't work, but you can't actually put your finger on why?
Yes. I would agree to that. There are certain bands that I just don't understand why I don't really like all that much. Everyone else loves them, and they're just Trivium, for instance, was one that we did on the podcast.
Yeah, we did that
Everyone
earlier.
seems to love that band, and I just don't get them. And I can't even tell you why I don't really get them. It's not like they're doing anything wrong, and I think we even said that in the podcast. I think we kind of pinpointed it to maybe a lack of a unique sound, but that's such a flimsy reason.
And also, it's just because, like, they're put on such a high pedestal that they may or may not actually deserve.
Yeah, so I think there are definitely bands like that for me, and it's always infuriating because I want to enjoy music, you know?
It's not even that I want to enjoy it, I just want to have an opinion on it.
Right. Yeah, so this album, I would say you could have cut The Silent Man and you could have cut Lifting Shadows off a Dream. I don't think the album would have suffered. It only would have been 9 minutes shorter, so it would have been still a Dream Theater length album. I just feel like those two songs bloated a bit, and although they are still technically great songs, they aren't as good as the other ones. So
I would say
this is a 9.5 out of 10 album for me.
I would have said yeah, you could cut those songs, but at least like put them on like as like bonus tracks or like on the deluxe version of the album.
Yeah.
Because like those tracks still need to be there.
Yeah, they're still really good. And I do think, like, lyrically speaking, they add to the album. So if you took them away, there would be something missing there. But you could fix that. It wouldn't be a huge issue. And that's why I only took off half a point, not a full point. Because they do have a reason to be there. They're not just filler tracks.
I'm gonna give it a 9.6.
You fucking contrarian asshole.
No, okay. No, there's actually a reason for that. Besides me being a contrarian asshole, which is fun. I don't think that the songs are bad. I think that, like you said, they add to the album. I don't know. Objectively, I want to give this a perfect 10. And you know what? I will change my mind. I will give it a perfect 10 because, yeah, there are flaws, but every album has flaws. The thing is, do the flaws affect the overall experience? And do they make the album any less enjoyable? Because, like, if we only gave 10 out of 10s to literally perfect albums, there would never be a 10 out of 10 in the history of music.
Yeah.
There is no perfect album that has universal appeal.
I think I proved that last time when we were doing Abbey Road.
Yeah. But I don't I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 because I think objectively the instrumentation is tight, the vocals are tight, the vocals are an instrument, as I said earlier. The lyrics are very good. The songs are a little bit more accessible, I think, than other Dream Theater albums that I've heard. The I don't know. Like, there are flaws, but I am tentatively going to give it a 10 out of 10. Maybe that could be slightly lowered if I gave the album more of a close listen.
For me, the reason that I'm mostly taking off half a point objectively is that I think A Silent Man especially takes away from the enjoyment for me, because I do think soft Dream Theater can work, and I think it works really well on songs like Innocence Faded, Voices. It doesn't work on The Silent Man. I'm not listening to a Dream Theater record to hear a neat little pleasant acoustic song. That I can get anywhere.
Yeah, but would it be as good as if Dream... Like,
maybe not, but I still find myself skipping the song every time I come to it because I just don't enjoy it. I feel like it actually takes away from the flow of the album also. It kind of comes out of nowhere for me. Like, obviously, Voices, the song before it, is a softer song, but it's a 9-minute and 54-second epic. To go from that to a tiny little acoustic number always felt a little weird for me.
This is... I've made my opinion pretty clear on softer songs. I don't think that they break up the flow of the album. I think it's almost like... I think it's like an inhale. Or it's like an exhale, you know what I mean? Like, you have, like... like, you have, like, you know, heavier song, really instrumental, heavy song, and then sometimes you just gotta exhale. And
Yeah,
for some
I
reason, I
get your
dabbed
point.
while I exhaled.
I always do that. No, but I think it can, but I think more often than not it doesn't. And on an album like this, I wouldn't say that it really needed to have a break, because I think Voices already did that, you know? Voices was already a softer song, and it already gave us that relief, that exhale, and it did it within the confines of the sound of the album. The Silent Man just comes out of nowhere. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. And for that record, so does Space Dive Best. The only reason I'm not taking points off for that is because it's so fucking good that I just can't.
Yeah.
A similar song to A Silent Man that I would say works is off of a Pantera album, actually. We were talking about that earlier.
Of course, Pantera.
It's called Suicide Note Part 1. It is an acoustic track, and it's off of the heaviest album in their discography. So
oh my god, you know what I just realized? We could probably like review a Pantera album and combine your nerdiness for Pantera with Christina's hard-on for wrestling. Because it's like, it's not too far off from like wrestling style music.
But anyway, you'd think I'd hate that, right? Because it's an acoustic track in the middle of a bunch of heavy tracks. So you would think I'd think that breaks the flow of the album. But no, it actually works perfectly in the context of the whole album. It doesn't feel like it breaks the flow at all. It is a bit of respite from the constant drilling in your head that the rest of the album's sound has. And the very next track is the heaviest song on the album, which is just great. Yeah. It's part 2 of the first part. So it works in all of the ways that the Silent Man doesn't, in my opinion.
All right.
Yeah, that's why I take off half a point. Not a full point, because I don't think that The Silent Man is a filler track. It has a point to exist. I just don't like it. So, yeah, half a point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if if you're admitting that the song admittedly has a point, would you say, like, personally you would give it a 9.5 and objectively you would give it a higher score?
Yeah, I guess objectively more like no,
Like-
even objectively, I would say that having the Silent Man in there takes away from the flow, like I said.
Okay.
So yeah, 9.5 both personally and objectively, I would say the same score.
All right. All right, we are going to end it here. I have been Tyler, and he has been Logan.
Woken.
Woken.
We've all been woken.
Yeah, I mean, well, we got the gender quota now, so
Exactly, we've gone woke.
yes. And again, reminder, in the future, we will have Christina, who is, we will
Right
have
there.
Christina right there. We will have Christina in
Yeah.
some future. She will be semi-regular.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bye, y'all.
See ya, bitches.